Welcome to this webcast this morning. My name's Tim G. I'm one of the sales managers at Rizure looking after the public sector verticals. Today we're going to be talking about workforce empowerment, something that I think is very, very important to a lot of organisations out there across commercial and public sector, allowing your people to be productive, to communicate and collaborate in the right way and getting the best out of technology. I'm joined today by Paul Waldridge, who is one of our Office 365 technical consultants. And between us, actually, whilst we focus on Office 365 as a tier one partner of Rizure, we also are aligned to Microsoft very heavily. And actually, I'm an accredited Office 365 seller for Microsoft. And Paul is also an accredited Office 365 Microsoft accredited technical specialist as well. So just before we kick into the webcast, just want to make sure that everyone can hear us. I know most of you are on mute. I would appreciate it if we can stay on mute, but if you can use instant message just to let us know that you can hear us, or Grace, can you confirm?
I can, Tim. I can hear you fine.
Okay, great. And we are sharing the presentation now, so I'm hoping that everyone can see that. We are recording the presentation as well, so if we do have any issues today, then we'll make sure that we get the recorded webcast to you so you can watch it at your leisure. So just very quickly, in terms of structure today, we'd appreciate if you've got any questions, we'll open those up at the end, or alternatively, if you want to send us some of your questions on instant message, then Grace will consolidate those and we'll get those answered at the end. Or alternatively, if you want to use email, then you can send us your questions on inquiries@risual.com. That's risual.com. And we'd obviously request that you mute your phone. We can see most of you are doing that at the moment, so that's great, just to cut down any background noise. And as I said, we are recording it, so if anything's missed today, we will make sure you get the recording. So without further ado, just very, very quickly, just want to give you a bit of background to who Rizure are, what we do, what our business is. We are a Microsoft tier one partner. We are very, very focused on Microsoft. We don't deal with any other competitive technologies. So we're 100% Microsoft focused, and we're 100% services focused. From a Microsoft perspective, we're very much a safe pair of hands for Microsoft because of the fact that we don't deal with any competitive technologies. But also, I think uniquely in the market, we deal with services, technical consultancy services across a whole range of Microsoft products. In fact, it's probably easier for us to list the products that we don't do rather than the products that we do. And that helps a lot of the Microsoft business managers and account managers to deliver a more holistic view to transformational projects using Microsoft technologies rather than an individual partner utilising one product or one workload. From a services perspective, we have three services streams: premium technical consultancy services from the four practices that you can see there: business productivity, unified communications, messaging, systems management, identity and access, and perimeter. We have about 45 consultants embedded into those practices, and we don't dilute the skill sets in those practices. We keep them very, very focused on the technologies that are included in those practices. So for business productivity, we talk about SharePoint and CRM. Unified communications and messaging is Link and Exchange. We also have business consultancy services. So when we're talking about transformational programs, we're talking about program management, engagement management. We utilize those individuals to help the smooth running of projects for you. And then lastly, for whatever we help you deploy, architect, then we also support with our managed services and support portfolio as well, which we'll talk about later. As you can see, I know there's a lot of people on the line that are government and public sector aligned. We are G-Cloud aligned for procurement. We do a lot of stuff in public sector. And obviously, you can see we hold all of the accreditations, or most of the accreditations that are available for Microsoft in terms of gold and silver partner. So just to kind of setting the scene for today, in our conversations with customers, we like to get to the nub of what's really driving our customers and what's really important to them. This is a slide that I've used in several occasions in front of many customer seminars in public sector. But actually, I think this applies across commercial and public sector, because what we see generally is people are trying to improve costs or improve outcomes of their business. And when you're trying to improve costs, then it's all about cost efficiencies being realised, total cost of ownership, return on investment, etc., etc. And when we're talking about improved outcomes, then there's a whole bunch of things that come into play in our conversations. But being customer centric is really, really important. Getting more of our customers engaged with us in different ways, digital ways, more flexibility and agility to access resources that we put forward. Partnering with other organisations, be it partners like Visual or Microsoft, or other partners, particularly in public sector like charitable organisations, cross multi-agency working. Information access and transparency is really, really key in terms of making sure that both your workforce and your customers have access to appropriate information so that they can make decisions in the right way. And of course, everything is about quality out there. And making sure that you deliver a quality service to your customers and to your internal stakeholders. So, we put technology as an enabler on all of that because actually, we've seen a massive transition over time around technology as a cost center to actually technology as an enabler. And actually, if you can align technology to these things fundamentally as priorities, then, and this is where Visual can really help, is to see that technology really is at the heart of positive change. So when we look at our propositions, we hold IT to account in many respects in our conversations to do three things really. Either enhance the infrastructure operations or processes that you have in your organisation, to empower the workforce that you've got to deal with a strategy of engagement with customers. I guess you could reverse engineer that in terms of importance. So engaging with your customers is ultimately of pinnacle importance, or that could be a student, patients, citizens in public sector, having a workforce, empowered workforce to deal with that strategy and infrastructure to underpin that. For us, we have three transformational propositions that we talk to our customers around. As you can see, they're optimized service, vision, end user computing, and connected business. But what we're here to talk about today is really what's at in the middle of all this, which is really empowering your workforce for communication, collaboration, and productivity. And I guess subtly behind that is giving you the tools to attain good people coming into your organisation, and more importantly, maintaining those people as they come through. So, a lot of university leavers now are taking a lot of time to look at the company's technology and thinking about how they use technology at home. Microsoft very coyly talk about that in terms of consumerization of IT, but it is really, really important. People are taking what they can do in terms of IT. They're looking for jobs using IT and technologies and social means to look at where jobs are, and then they're expecting the very best from IT when they land into organizations. So that's what we're here to talk about today: workforce empowerment, and specifically how Microsoft technologies, and I'm sure everybody's aware of the pervasive nature of Microsoft productivity tools with Office, and I'm no doubt each one of you here to understand a little bit more about how Office in the cloud, or Office 365, and the surrounding public cloud technologies can help to drive productivity with a lot more agility and flexibility to your users. So what we're hoping to do today is not really to go too deep into the technical detail and architecture of these technologies. We've got more opportunity to help you with that, and we'll talk about that later on in the presentation. But what we really wanted to do today is to talk to you about and show you really a demonstration of the technologies in the guise of a kind of day in the life of an empowered workforce. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to Paul. We're going to switch from presentation into demo. Hopefully, I can see that there's a few people here that are just struggling to see the presentation. As I say, if you are struggling to see the presentation, we'll make sure you get a copy of the recorded the meeting at the end of this. Over to Paul.
Thanks very much, Tim. Hi guys, my name's Paul Waldridge. As introduced, I'm the technical specialist in Office 365. What I'm going to be doing today is, as Tim has already kind of alluded to, is a kind of day in the life, almost like running through a scenario where a typical employee just using the Office 365 tools that are available to them just to get the things that they need to get done. There's three girls that I'd like to introduce you to, which are my typical demo users that I use quite a lot of the times. We've got Sarah Davis, who is a product manager in sales and marketing. She's actually using a typical Windows 7 client. We've got Katie Jordan, who's an auditor in finance. She is actually on the road at the moment, so she's out and about. And we've got Molly Dempsey as well, who's also in the product manager in sales and marketing. She's actually using the Windows 8 client. So just to kind of set the scene a little bit here, what I've got is I've got the virtual machines. I'm taking it from the idea of the users pretty much just logged in. So I'm not sure what the estate is out there at the moment, but I know that there's a lot of our customers that are using Windows 7 and possibly Windows 8 as well. So in a typical kind of Windows 7, what we've done is we've logged in. Link automatically starts up. That automatically sets our presence up here, that we can show that we're available, and we can also set our location, and we can have a bit of a blurb of what's happening today as well. So as you can see down here in Link, I've got my kind of favorite people that I talk to quite a bit, and we can see instantly what their status is. So we can see with Katie at the moment that she's busy, she's out on the road again, and we can see Molly's available there in the office. So one of the typical things that a user's doing when they're coming in is, of course, they're checking their email. So we can see here now that we're using the latest version of the Office Pro Plus that's in Office 365. So this is now almost like Outlook 2013. So for a lot of the users who haven't seen it, there's a lot of kind of new improvements and new ways of working in Outlook 2013, which is just there to help. So you can see instantly that we've gone into the top of our mailbox here, and we can start to check our emails. We can see that we've got integration in with our phone system here, and we can see that we've got a voicemail recording that we may want to listen to in there. It's also as well going to give us a bit of a preview with the speech to text. So again, we're just going through and we're checking our emails. Again, there's no need to double click to open the emails. We can see them in the preview pane on here. Also as well, that if we need to reply or reply to all, we can do that instantly. Again, without having to open up the email, we can just hit the reply to in the preview screen and we can type our message in there. Also, as well, as we're scrolling through, we can see some of these kind of more annoying emails that tend to fill our box here, which is the one that goes out to all employees. A good example of this is, again, the reply to all. What you'll notice in here, though, is that we've got a couple of what's called apps that actually sit within Exchange Online now. One of them is the Bing Maps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click to open it up. If I click on Bing Maps, what it will do is it will actually highlight and it will say, I think we found an address here, and it can actually take you straight into Bing Maps and it can map that address for you so that you can get directions and you can see exactly where that meeting or that particular address may be taking place. Also in there as well, we've got suggested meetings. So this is another very kind of useful thing there where it's saying, hey, let's have dinner on Thursday night at 8 p.m. at the Yumi Steakhouse. Again, it can pick up all of those. And again, we can see a meeting, hit the schedule meeting, and then we can invite in whoever we need to invite in. Again, using the scheduling assistant there to call out the different things and select the best time. So obviously I'm going through, I'm checking my emails, I'm replying to those emails. One of the things I can do as well is if I hover over the calendar, I can just have what's known as a peek view. So maybe I don't want to see in the calendar, but I can see that at 4:30 this afternoon that we've got a company meeting. And again, we can have a quick peek view of the favorites that are in there. Again, we can see how Link is integrating. Again, I can see that Katie is on the road, but she's just away at the moment, or inactive for the moment, and also obviously Molly. And we can also see in here as well the contact card that comes up for Molly. And within there, we can actually see that that person is free until 5 o'clock. We can schedule a meeting, send an email, all of these things. And again, this is actually coming out of Link. As part of this, Sarah is actually a member of the Northwind Traders project team. And as such, she's been granted access to the team site that's actually within SharePoint. One of the new features that have come along in Office 365 and the 2013 set of products is that now we have what's known as site mailboxes. Site mailboxes are where SharePoint and Exchange are meeting. So what we have is we have a site that is set up in SharePoint, which would typically have the documents, perhaps a task list, all the different things in there. We can now attach an email box so that the email is being stored in Exchange, but it's also available in SharePoint. And because we're using Outlook 2013, we see that as an additional mailbox. So this is a typical kind of shared mailbox that you know and love. All of the new email messages are dropping into that inbox. But if I need to get into the documents that are associated in the document library in SharePoint, rather than me having to bounce across into SharePoint to do that, I can simply click on the documents and I can access all of the documents associated with that particular project. So again, I haven't had to bounce into SharePoint to do that. Again, taking a peek at the tasks, we can see that we've got a few things that are there. Obviously, take the dog for a walk is a very important one that we've got to do as responsible pet owners. But one of the things that I wanted to concentrate on today is that that Sarah's got a task of actually getting this Northwind proposal done and dusted by the end of the week, and she needs some input and some feedback from her kind of peers and from the people that are working around her. What I can do is I can, again, checking there, we can see that Molly's just gone kind of offline. Let's bring her back online. What I can do is if I double click the instant thing, the default action, I should say, is to instant message. So what we can say is we can say, hi, Molly. And you can see there that I can see that Sarah is instant messaging me. I'm available. I can answer that one. And again, we can have a back and forth conversation. So what we're going to ask at the moment is we're going to see if Molly can help us out by collaborating on a document called the Northwind Traders Proposal. So again, if one that I've kind of prepared earlier is if I go into the Northwind proposal, what I can see is these are the documents. These are the same documents that I can see in my Outlook client. And as you can see, we can see Link again integrating in. So we can see that the last one to modify it was myself with Sarah, and we can see the availability of that person. What I can do then is I've got the option then to actually share the document. So what I can do is I can actually share this with Molly. And then what I can do is I can actually decide whether they can edit or just simply view the document. If the SharePoint library allows it as well, I can share this document externally. I can share it with external customers, again, controlling the kind of permissions that people have to that document. Again, if the more security conscious, obviously that is not enabled by default, so you have to enable that on the SharePoint. And what would happen is if we hit the share, what will happen is an email invitation will then go over to Molly to say that so-and-so has shared it with you. Now, when it's within the same organization, I've obviously already authenticated to Office 365 and I can get into that document and I can make the amendments. When it's gone externally, it would use a Windows Live login to identify the customer. And again, you can revoke the permissions as needed. So again, we can share and we can collaborate, not just within our own organization, but also we have the capability out the box to do that as well. So again, as we can see there, what I've done now is I've received the email to say that Sarah's actually shared the document with me. What I can do is I can hit there, and what it does is the default action for me is to take me into the Outlook web, the Office web apps. So the Office web apps will now show me a almost like a kind of preview in the kind of read-only mode of that document. What I have the option to do then is I can either edit the document in my full-fat Word client that I have installed, or I can just do this in Word Online if we just want to make the quick changes again just in the browser. If we edit in the Word Online, Molly will now open that document. What I will do is I will also open it now as Sarah as well. And I'm going to also edit this in Word Online. So as you can see, we both have the document open. So what we want to see there is exactly what it's telling us, that Molly is actually editing the document herself. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down and we're going to make some amendments. If I go to the same page now with Molly, you can see what Sarah is typing in real time. So you can have a lot of fun when we've been testing this new feature is kind of who wins if somebody's editing the same sentence at the same time. It's always the last edit that wins. But you can see how the kind of collaboration has come together, and basically I can be working on one page as Sarah and Molly can be working on another page, and we can collaborate on that document to get the things done. In a kind of classic kind of file server thing, only one person would be able to have that particular document open. So in the Office web apps, we get a great experience. So again, if we're just editing out that particular thing there, again, on the other side, I can see that Molly's editing that. We've got different ways that we can collaborate as well. So for example, that's just one way that we can collaborate on there, but we might decide that rather than having the the potential confusion of who's working on what we can do is we can use the other tools that are available to us, like with Link here. Now, as Sarah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually open up this document in Word. So what it's going to do is it's going to launch the kind of full-fat, should we say, Office client in there, and it's going to open it up in Word. What I can do then is I can actually decide to have a bit of an ad hoc meeting or collaboration with there, in that I can actually share this program with Molly. So what I'm going to do is, rather than sharing, I do have the capability, like I'm doing on this webcast right now, is to share my entire desktop. So we can be bouncing through the different programs. But I might decide that actually the only thing that I want to present to Molly is just Word. So what we'll find at the other side is that we've got some meeting content. And then what it will do is it will open up, and we can see there that we can now see Sarah's desktop. So obviously Sarah wants to use the OpenXML format. So again, what we can do is, as I'm scrolling through, Molly can see all the things that I'm scrolling through. What I can do as well is I can request control as there, and I can say, yes, give that person the control. So what that means is, Molly now working from her desktop, she can go, well, actually, I don't like the way that sentence looks or anything. I just want to add in. And again, that's real-time kind of collaboration with that. We may also want to drag other people into this. We might also want to say, oh, well, okay, that's great that we've got Molly. But what we also might want to do is we might to invite somebody else in, maybe someone to give it a bit of a peer review. We can just double click on Katie there and invite Katie in. So what that will do is that will send the request to Katie, and she can start viewing that document, and she can start seeing that particular thing, and then start reading. So again, we're bringing people together to collaborate on that particular document. And again, improving the kind of communication. We could see perhaps we want to drag in more people. We're instantly going to see if they are available or if they are offline. Again, if they're not in our contacts list, then we can find other users. And again, it's just going to go out and it's going to find. And again, that's probably an external user. If we're federated externally, depending on the security policies, we can do this with external customers. So if you're federated with another company, they can join in and you can have these ad hoc meetings. Again, looking through here, we can decide that once we're done with that, we just want a quick whiteboard session. So what we do then is we set up a whiteboard, and this allows people then to just put it in as if we're in a kind of meeting room here. So again, we've got the kind of drawing tools and things like that. And again, our users on the other side can see that, and then they can contribute to that whiteboard as well. So again, this is the way that we're kind of improving this collaboration. There's many different tools. Some fit the scenario better than others, and we're enabling our workforce to kind of collaborate and communicate in a lot better way. Once we'd actually finished that document from that point of view, so Sarah's happy that she's had the feedback that she needs and the things that she needed from Molly. What she may do then is she might send it out to the kind of wider community, whether that be within her department or whether that be within the company as a whole. And what we can do is we can use Yammer. So in here, what we've got as well is we've also got the thing in Yammer here. So what I want to do is I want to turn around to the sales team and I want to get their feedback on a document that I've just produced. So what I can do is just go into Yammer and say, hi guys, can you take a look at this doc and let me know what you think. I can then either post the actual I can actually post the document to Yammer if I decide that I want to do that, or I might just want to just put in the link. So again, into here, and what it will do is Yammer will go away, it will fetch the page data, it will realize that it's part of there, and then I can post that away. Other users then can like that post. So again, using the social features, if we're looking at the other one, again, we've seen great customer traction with the things. Again, we're communicating using that kind of social media. So again, going back to that massive email trail about the company soccer team, perhaps that was better done in a Yammer group. So a lot of people then can like, they can reply. We're not hammering the inboxes of people with messages that can get lost or get kind of, you know, buried within the inbox. And we can be bringing all of these tools together just to help us get onto there, basically. So, so hence my slow connection at the moment. So again, bringing it all together, all in one place. So again, we can have integration as well within the sales and marketing. We have an actual SharePoint site that's actually set up for the Northwind Traders project. Again, you've already seen the way that Link is integrating in there. We can also integrate as well the Yammer feeds into there as well. So again, bringing in this, we can see all the project summaries, all the tasks that have got to be achieved. We can actually synchronize those into our Outlook as well, so that everybody is kind of singing from the same page. Everybody is aware of the tasks that need to be done. Again, in here, we can see here people's Yammer feeds. Again, we don't need to jump across to Yammer in order to post something into Yammer. We can say, share something with the group specific to that title. Again, using our hashtags and things like that. I can post that. I can notify specific people as well. So again, I might want to notify Molly of this particular post. Again, what I can do is I can like posts, I can reply to these posts, all of the typical kind of social media things that you can get. I think it's a bit bad form to like your own post, but you know, again, you can kind of gain the feedback. Again, using the Yammer as well, we can get the kind of, we can use external networks. So, for example, if we're doing a particular conference, we might want to go out there to the world and say, okay, guys, it's like opening a door to a bunch of a room of people that don't like you, but you need that valuable feedback from your customers to say, what did you think about this? Using the kind of online polls, we can post a poll into there and we can get that type of feedback almost immediately from our customers, again, using the power of social media, rather than sending out kind of emails and bugging people saying, can you please reply to our survey? We can just send this out there. People that are connected into Yammer can come in and give their views. And again, we can get real-time information back from those people. So going back to Sarah now, what she's managed to do is she's managed to get all the different kind of feedbacks and things like that into there. So the document is now ready to be shared with the customer. What we've done then is, like I say, previously using some of the older productivity tools, you may have found that you would have to have emailed your group of people. So you would have been waiting for slow responses coming back. Using Link, we can get in touch with them straight away. Using Yammer, we can get feedback from customers, from our internal colleagues, from all of those, again, near enough straight away, which just improves our times of turning around some of these kind of near enough common a garden kind of tasks that you've got on a daily basis, but using all of the collaboration tools together. What we find now is, obviously, what we want to do is perhaps we want to download a copy and send this to the actual customer. So what we can do is we can do the naughty thing of saving to the desktops. Again, there'd be no reason that I couldn't share using the share facility. In this particular case, that might not be possible because it's not allowed because of some security policies. Sorry, guys, I keep tantalizing you with the OWA, which I'm going to show you in a second. But what I'm going to show you in here again is we're going in and we're going to do our typical thing into the email right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to send this to myself. So basically, I'm going to hit send. How many times have we done that? I've just promised an attachment, and of course it's not there. So what it does is it goes, oh, actually, I think you might have forgotten to attach a file right there. So what I can do, yeah. Don't send, and actually remember to attach the Northwind proposal. As you can see as well, for those of you who are on kind of earlier versions of Exchange as well, it's actually, what's come up here is what's known as a mail tip. So this particular mail tip is just warning you that some of the recipients, or the recipient that you're trying to send to, is actually outside of your organization. One of the great new features that's available in Exchange as well, in Exchange Online, is there's known as policy tips as well. So policy tips can stop that accidental data leakage that goes out of your company. Say if people are sending credit card information or stuff that's against certain government acts, we can put that in, and what that will do is that will appear as a policy tip, very similar to the way that you're seeing this mail tip appear. So what you're doing is you're trying to stop the users from kind of treading in a cow pat or anything like that, or potentially sending some of that leaky information or making mistakes before they send the email. So again, we're just helping out our end users from doing some of those kind of mistakes that, you know, maybe some of them sending an attachment without it is a little embarrassing, but not really very detrimental to the business, to those where accidentally they've sent a spreadsheet that they didn't realize that one of the tabs in the workbooks has actually got credit card information that was not supposed to leave the organization. All of these things are preventative measures that we can help out with the users. From a user experience as well, it's not just about having it all kind of through the, shall we say, rich client experience. What we have as well is we have the Outlook web app. So in this particular organization, this is available kind of externally for all users. In this particular web browser, what I'm showing you is the way that the Outlook web app can automatically resize according to the device that it's on. What you're actually looking at is the kind of wide version of OWA. Now, the Outlook web app will automatically detect or try to detect which browser or what device that you are using and automatically size out OWA according to the device that you're using. As I say, what you're looking at here is you're looking at something that might appear on an iPad or a Surface or an Android tablet. It's very much touch-centric. We're seeing nice big buttons that we can just click on there, and we can get into our calendars, and we can get into there, and we can see the different views. Again, very touch-centric. So what we also find as well is if we're using it on a mobile device, on our iPhones, on our Windows phones, the Android phones, things like that. Again, it will recognize that it is a mobile-based browser, and it will automatically resize it. So again, what we're seeing here, very touch-centric. If we click into there, we go straight into the particular one. We can hit the reply to all. We can go back, and again, going into here, you can see that it becomes, if I resize my browser, as it says on the tin, quite narrow. And it's automatically going to do that for your user. Very much like with the SharePoint, certain SharePoint libraries as well can recognize that they're on different types of things, and they can resize. So again, going back to our user here, she's got her document out. She's had her feedback, and what would have typically taken 2 or 3 days to get the responses back, using kind of things like Yammer, Link, the integration in with Exchange Online, using the SharePoint libraries, using the sharing facility in SharePoint as well, we can see that she's used all of the tools that are available to help her get those things done. Right then, guys. So hopefully you found that a little bit interesting. It was very kind of, shall we say, sheep dip and whistle stop tour through the features things. So just going to hand back to Tim now to talk about our Office 365 Quick Start.
Thanks, Paul. I'm sure they found it a lot interesting, rather than a little interesting. I did anyway. It's great to see that I came to Regional last September from Microsoft. I was at Microsoft for 8 years, and it's great to see the journey of these technologies move on. I know, talking to a lot of our public sector customers, that actually, there's still an XP Office 2003, 2007 has served public sector very, very well over the years, but we need to start to look at the kind of experience that is available to many of us now in our personal lives, and how that can be integrated into a way in which people utilize their work machines now. Because all of this is in the cloud, I guess when you look at the way that Paul's demoing this, you wouldn't know that it's in the cloud unless you told people, because actually it's a look and feel. It's about utilizing different formats, different access points, and getting the same experience. So for us, because it's in the cloud, then there is an ability for us to very, very quickly get you up to speed with a proof of concept and pilot. So we've put together essentially a quick start methodology for getting people up and running with these technologies, and getting a flavour for how these technologies can be worked, used, and trialled over a defined period. And that for us is a 5-day engagement. What we do in that 5-day engagement is look at around 30 to 60 days of the pilot, really, around 25 users. We try and be succinct about the users and what they want to try and get out of it.
Yeah, it's worth noting as well that the Quick Start pilot is actually based on Microsoft Fast Track. Microsoft Fast Track now actually offers the pilot for up to 90 days and up to 250 users. We don't have to use all of those if you don't want. We're not forcing you to do 250, but just to note that a kind of recent development is that a lot of customer feedback was that 30 days really isn't enough to test it in your kind of ecosystem and within your environment. So 90-day trials are available.
So we have standard rates for government and commercial customers. I'm sure that if you want to drop us an inquiry, we'll be following up from the meeting after, and obviously we can help you to think about the costings for either adding Office 365 to an existing investment with Microsoft on an enterprise agreement, or through the portal, and make sure you get the right costings for that. Equally, for us, this isn't about just helping you right at the beginning of your journey with Office 365. We can help to evaluate what you want to do in kind of a 1-day ADS. We've talked about the accelerate into a pilot with a 5-day engagement. But really then, when you've started to see the power of this, utilize the different aspects of Office 365, then really it's about getting some proper design and planning for the aspects that you want to use: Link, SharePoint, Yammer, email, Exchange. And then getting that out to test and deploy.
There's just one thing I'd just like to note as well, guys, is around the kind of the quick start approach as well, is that it's not a throwaway effort. A lot of kind of pilots that get put in tend to be kind of, okay, we run with the pilot and then we look to deploy. What we can do with our kind of approach is we can actually kind of reuse and convert those pilot users into production. So there's no throwaway effort here, sort of thing. So all the things that we do during that pilot is not kind of just thrown in the bin and then we start all over again with the kind of, from a design and planning. We would then just transition that environment in. So especially important if you've started to use things like SharePoint sites and team sites that you've set up and you've kind of configured in the way that you want them to work. There's no need to do a migration. We can do that. We can do a migration into a fresh tenant, but the best way to do it is just usually to transition from that pilot into production.
Thanks, Paul. It's a good point. Well noted. And for us, as we said right at the beginning here, for us, we have managed services and support. So essentially, when we start to help you to utilize Office 365, then we have some support, a portfolio of support offerings to help you. And it's important to note with Office 365, particularly because you have the flexibility to have a hybrid environment. So in some instances, you might want to protect some data on-premise and federate with some services in the cloud. You might want to offer Office 365 for kiosk-type users or deskless workers for standard lightweight email and SharePoint use, whereas actually on the other end, you might want a full enterprise user with a full use of Office web apps, Link, SharePoint, email, and Yammer. So there's lots of things that you can choose from in terms of what Microsoft have in the portfolio. But the key thing to note there is if you are running a hybrid environment, and even if you are moving whole hog to the cloud, then there is an element of identity and federation that you need with your hybrid environment, particularly with Active Directory. So when we look at Office 365 support, not only do we front end any of the Microsoft service requests that you might have around Office 365, so you get them dealt with in a more kind of agile, flexible and quicker way. But also what we put into that service is the ability for us to proactively manage the ADFS, Active Directory Federation services and Active Directory servers that you may have in your on-premise service, because obviously that will have an impact on the Office 365 service if you can't get your identity and access through to that service through your AD environment. And then lastly, as part of the service, because you are, I guess, essentially now consuming a service from Microsoft, then equally what you're consuming is updates, new versions on a regular basis. And I think what's really, really critical with that is just understanding when those new versions are coming out, when the service packs are coming out, and importantly, knowing if they will have an effect on some of the templates that you've put in terms of SharePoint. So we call that basically a support maximizer, where we'll have one of our consultants coming on site either 3, 6 or 12 times a year just to help you to make sure that you're getting a view of the new products and the new features and getting the best out of those features, and equally making sure that they don't break anything that's in situ.
Absolutely. If we look at some of the new features that have come out just in the past year, what we've seen the introduction of two-factor authentication into Office 365. Previously, you needed a third party in order to do that. We're looking at much more kind of rich experience in Office web apps and how you can exploit that. Information rights management and how you can configure and protect those documents that you might be sharing externally, but you want to protect those. There's a lot of new features that are kind of coming along, which unfortunately we probably don't have time to go through all of them. And that's what it's really about, is some of these new features. It's when you're in and consuming the cloud services, you can either switch them on or switch them off. And so I think it's important with that you understand where the new features might benefit you, because a lot of the things that I've just talked about there have come at no additional cost. And yet they may be able to save you cost in the long run, especially around the kind of two-factor options. You might have been paying for quite expensive kind of physical tokens or something, RSA tokens that might have been doing. Now you can use a kind of soft-based two-factor authentication using what used to be known as phone factor in Office 365. So that's what it's really about.
Thanks, Paul. So lastly for us, when let's say we're an Office 365 Tier 1 partner, we've been engaged with a number of customers now in terms of getting them onto Office 365, and we continue to do so. This webcast is not just the end point of our engagement with you. We will be putting another couple of webcasts together over the course of the next couple of months, just kind of talking through other aspects of workforce empowerment, maybe going a little bit deeper onto some of the products that we've talked about. I know for sure that we do partner with people like AvePoint that have some great products that can be utilized to isolate documents in SharePoint, either on-premise or online, to maybe control some of those sensitivity of documents around where they can and can't go. So we'll be looking at that as well. Equally, we've got some great facilities in Stafford in the Midlands, where we are going to open up some knowledge share workshops, again around Office 365 and the use of. Generally, they'll come over a half day. We'll show you a few things. We'll talk to you about a few things in the morning, and we'll probably feed you at lunch. And we'll open up some discussion around how these technologies can help you.
It's like I say, with the workshops as well, it's great to get hands-on with some of those devices as well, with the laptops, the tablets, and the mobile phones. You can get really kind of hands-on in those workshops and see exactly how they are going to work in real life.
Yeah. We talked about the quick start approach. So again, talk to us about that if you want to get a pilot up and running. There might be part funding for that if we can get something from Microsoft to help you. So please talk to us about that. We've said go for it if you like what you've seen and you really think that's going to approach and deliver what you want for your organisation. Then again, talk to us about our kind of deployment options and where you are in your thought process, and we'll help you with that. And then lastly, there is still a funding stream from Microsoft at the moment. If you make a commitment to Office 365, 150 users on the portal or in your enterprise agreement will result in $5,000 being returned to a partner to help you to implement. If you go for 1,000 users, then I think it's something like $20,000 that you get returned. So that's up until the end of June. So again, if you're in the mindset that you want to go forward with this, we can help you with the architecture, getting it up and running pilot. But equally, if you can make a procurement before the end of June, which is Microsoft's year end, then there's more money for us partners like ourselves to help you get that up and running. So that was us. I think we've got about, we said we would go for an hour. We're at about 10 minutes left, which is pretty good. We're happy to take some questions now or any comments, or both on instant message or through email. Or Grace, are we able to open up the lines to anybody? Or
Yes, yeah, we can. Sure, just unmute people, and if they want to shout up, just yeah, just fire any questions out.
No, not really. It's fine. Yeah.
okay, so it looks as though a number of people have took the opportunity to drop out. They've seen what they want to see and they've dropped out. And any questions from anybody online now, or any comments at all? Well, Paul, you've done an absolutely fantastic job there then. You've answered all the questions from everyone online.
I think it's probably going away to get more questions.
Yeah. So instant message there. If there is any questions, then please do come back to us for inquiries. And if there's any more help that you need, then please don't hesitate to give us a call. We're happy to help. Thanks for your time. Have a good day.
Thank you.